Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is PJP and welcome to my thoughts on a series. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. My name is PJP and welcome to my thoughts on series, in which I share my thoughts on everything from movies, video games, TV series, etc. In today's video, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the recently done halfway crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I might share a bit of a controversial opinion, but I don't think it is a good crossover. Now, hear me out. I do like the concept of multiverse destruction, and for the most part I like how they went about it, but I kind of hate how little of a focus there is of that in the crossover, and there's so many things that I have to go on about in this video, so I'm sorry if it ends up being a bit of a rambling mess. I'm gonna try my best to keep it constricted to specific categories. So first of all, we're gonna start with the unnecessary crap. Question: what was the point of the 2036 Oliver? Why was he included in this crossover? That character literally had no purpose, especially because he wasn't even the same character that the Legends met in Season 1. If at least he was that character, that would have kind of made me make sense, and I thought that maybe they were going to bring him as the parallel, as another version of Oliver to replace the Oliver that just died. Because I at least thought and had a theory that, and this is a spoiler, so don't keep going if you don't know the comics and you don't know how the comics end, but I had the theory that whenever the multiverse is destroyed and they combine everything into one Earth, they will need to have at least one version of each person, whether it's from a parallel universe or from Earth 1, to be able to create this new world. So to give an example, maybe they use Nashwell's and make him into the new Earth's version of Wells. You get what I mean? So I thought that this parallel universe, Oliver was going to become the new Oliver once the multiverse or the universe is reset after the battle with the Anti-Monitor. So that kind of was my thought process about why would they include him, because otherwise it's just a waste of screen time. Why would they do that? I think there was another scene in the next episode, which was the Batwoman episode, with John Hex. And again, what was the point of John Hex being included? He's literally there for like 2 minutes, even if that even, and he's gone. Why did you have to include him? What purpose did it serve? Like, I guess it was a cameo, but why do you need him as a cameo? He has been several times on Legends. Why would you need to include him in an unnecessary crossover? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And other than that, there isn't anything else that it sticks out as a necessary scene. But yeah, I just wanted to point out these two specific, because it does make sense for them to be there. The second thing about this crossover is how much all over the place it feels. Like, compare it to Crisis on Earth X. In my opinion, Crisis on Earth X is the best crossover that they've done, and it's the most concise and to the point in a way. Like, Crisis on Earth X pretty much actually feels like a 4-part miniseries, in the vein like something like Chernobyl. Like, each episode progresses the story and the characters forward, and you can almost watch the crossover without really caring about the shows. that's not really the case for this crossover, and honestly I prefer the way Crisis on Earth X was done. It's much better. Each episode had its beginning and end narratively, and each one moved the plot along, which is really not the case for Crisis on Earth X, on Infinite Earths, because in the first episode actually starts out fine narratively, but it's still rushed as heck. We had all that build up during Arrow Season 8, which is actually the first season of Arrow that I actually watched, because I really didn't care about Arrow. I'm more of a Flash fan and a bit of a Legends of Tomorrow, mainly of Season 1 and 2. So I actually checked it out and it was really cool build up, but I don't know, the episode still felt really unsatisfying and rushed as heck, as I said. And some characters which should have participated in the crisis so far, like Black Canary from Earth 2, where the fuck she has been? Like, she had so much build up during that season and she's totally gone. She's gone. And the crossover is pretty much almost done. We have like one more day of 2 episodes and that's it. But yeah, the episode was rushed as heck. Also, the battle kind of felt unsatisfying. Like, I totally thought they were going to do in a completely different direction with this crossover. Maybe that's why I feel unsatisfied. But that's just how I feel. It's their fault that I feel like this, because I thought they were going in more sensible direction, because personally I genuinely don't think the way they're going about it is good. I usually try to not judge story choices and just go and watch it for what it is rather than what I want it to be, but I genuinely think that what it is terrible, especially compared to what they did before, which I think is what they wanted to do this time. I don't know, because they're also claiming that it feels more like a mini-series, or it feels like a coherent thing rather than each episode feeling like the show that it is from, which is, I think, exactly what it is. Because the Supergirl episode, even though it was very Oliver focused, it was also a lot of focus on Supergirl, and it felt like a Supergirl episode in my opinion. Maybe that's why it felt rushed. I don't know really the quality of Supergirl, never really watched it. But it felt rushed, and the death of Oliver felt unsatisfying. Like, at that point I was supposed to be crying or something. I didn't feel a thing. And usually I tend to cry even if I haven't really given a shit about the show. I just see a death scene, I would cry. Because, for example, Flash's mother death, I saw it before I got into the show and I still fucking cried because it was a sad scene. But Oliver's death wasn't really a sad scene. Even the death was rushed. Like, you would think that they would actually build up to his death being in the final episode, and maybe it's still going to be. Though I don't think so at this point with the developments that we've had in the crossover about him. But instead they've gone to kill him in the first episode as a shock twist or something, and then go with this weird revival plot, maybe just for the sake to include Lucifer into this crossover, which, fine, I enjoy that cameo, but was it worth it? And yeah, the first episode of the crossover is definitely the worst one, because the second one is the one with the cameos, which everybody was waiting for, aka the Smallville Superman and the Kevin Conroy as Batman. Honestly, I've never watched Smallville, probably never will, though it seems like a really cool show from the early 2000s, and those shows are the ones I really love. Currently, I am watching Charmed slowly but surely. And even then, like, I thought the cameo would be really bad and annoying. And specifically for the Smallville one, a lot of people, similarly to a lot of people, I thought I was going to be disappointed by not seeing that version of Clark Kent ever get sued and actually participate in the battle, but I'm actually satisfied with what they went with, even though I haven't really ever watched the show. It just felt like a cool happy ending, and he still landed a punch on Lex, so that was cool. And yeah, as I said, the cameos were actually not that bad. They're literally the best part of this episode. And honestly, the other good part of this episode, of this crossover that I like, is the building up of the relationship between Kate, aka Batwoman, and Kara, aka Supergirl. This is the only character development that we've had in this crossover, and it's disappointing. Because in Crisis on Earth X, we actually had a lot. Or at least narrative development. I don't know exactly what to call it, but there was development. It felt like the story was progressing. I feel like it has been spinning. Meanwhile, for Crisis on Earth X, meanwhile for Crisis on Infinite Earths, I feel like it has been spinning its wheel for the past 3 episodes, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel coherent. I don't know exactly how to explain it. It just feels all over the place. And then we go to episode 3, the Flash one. I gotta say, I had a bit of hope for this episode to be really good, because season 6, honestly, of the Flash has been probably the best one, in my opinion, because it has a lot of emotion, a lot of actual good writing and acting, mind you, because I've actually felt the emotion of the characters, like when Carlos Valdez acts like Cisco in some scenes where he's angry that Barry has just accepted his death. I actually feel that, like, that's genuinely good acting, which honestly we haven't seen since season 3, maybe season 2 even, or ever. I don't know, I don't remember. I also haven't seen all of the episodes from the early seasons, but it's just, in general, season 6 has been really good. And I'd say the episode was still pretty good, but it's not as good as I thought it would be. It still is kind of bogged down by this crossover thing, where for some reason the crossover itself makes the episodes worse. I don't know. So for episode 3, I do feel like it's a bit better than the other 2, but not majorly so. And also, a lot of people seem to complain that all the build-up for Barry's death was a waste, like the show, as if the show has been building to Barry dying in Crisis on Infinite Earths for 6 years. No, it hasn't. And I get why people think that it was building up to this death, but it's not. And we'll see once the crossover is done if this was the actual build-up, but personally I don't think it is, because for the longest time in the newspaper it was written that he was battling the Reverse Flash when he disappeared. And also we know that when he disappears he actually goes back in time to his mother's death and prevents or fights the Reverse Flash there. So we know that he shouldn't just simply disappear, but rather go back in time and then disappear. So that means that he's not gonna die from the antimatter canon being from destroying the antimatter canon the same way that the 90s Barry died. He was never going to do that. At least I think so. Even though the Monitor said that he was going to die during the crisis, it just doesn't make sense even from the narrative standpoint of the show. That's not what it was building up to. He was meant to die or disappear battling the Reverse Flash, not destroying an antimatter cannon. So people are kind of unnecessarily complaining, but I do get why. I don't get why they made it so this crisis was the one he was disappearing with in last season and everything, and the Monitor saying that he's going to die. I think it's gonna be just the next crisis in which he ends up fighting the Reverse Flash, and we still might get the Reverse Flash, but if we don't get him, then he never was going to die in this crisis. That's what people should understand. And I gotta say, I do like that they included Black Lightning in this crossover, and honestly they might as well have promoted that episode of Black Lightning as part of Crisis on Infinite Earths, because it might as well be part of it. And even though I have not watched Black Lightning, I checked out clips of the episode on YouTube, and honestly seemed to be the best one out of them, because it actually explores and develops character during it, and it's not just a spectacle show. Honestly, I think that's my complaint about Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's just all spectacle with no substance behind it. The only substance coming from wrapping up a show that is already like a decade old, and it had 10 seasons of story, and another just a stupid cameo. It's just style over substance, pretty much. And I feel like it could have been so much more, because as I said, I like the concept of it. I like the idea of parallel worlds getting destroyed and everybody having to come to one Earth and everything. That's really cool. And also, I forgot to mention, for the first episode, the tension was really good. The tension of the end of the world and that everybody has to get out of the planet. It was really cool. And I do like the fact that Oliver helped save 1 billion more people, even though that was really stupidly built up. Because how do you fucking get 3 billion people? Like, they didn't really, because of it was really rushed, they didn't really properly explain how everybody got through that portal. Was there only one portal and other shit like that? They just say, oh, this amount of people survived, and just expected just hope that the fans would just not really give a shit that it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, also I like the ending of the third episode, in which the Paria sends them to the vanishing point. One also interesting moment from the crossover from the third. One also very interesting moment from the third episode is when the Monitor gives Cisco back his powers, which honestly already was a stupid decision in itself. I don't get what the show was trying to do with trying to make Cisco give up his powers. Why would he do that? Because I personally don't think he would do that. Like, if we go back to season 2 of The Flash, he was afraid of his powers, because he felt that he could only use them for evil because it came from evil and everything. But he grew out of that. He actually came to love his powers, and because he's the kind of comic book geek even, he loved his powers. He liked that he had them. So where the hell did that stupid storyline with the cure come from in season 5? It's really stupid. Because otherwise, I don't really think season 5 is that bad, but that storyline was really stupid. Like, maybe they could have built up because his powers get him in danger too much. That makes more sense. But even the excuse that they're going for, oh, he feels like his powers are essentially overshadowing him as a person. He doesn't want to be known as Vibe, the superhero. He wants to be known as Cisco, the genius, I guess. But that to me doesn't make any sense, and it comes off honestly more selfish rather than the reason that I just came up with, where he was afraid for his life after Cicada almost killed him, because that honestly makes more sense. But I do like that the Monitor gave him his power back, and I really hope he doesn't lose them again, because it was stupid to give him up in the first place. It makes sense only if they were going to remove Cisco from the show, which maybe they were going to, but because of fan backlash, which there kind of was. Because he's a fan favorite character, maybe he decided to stay, and I don't know, maybe they convinced him to stay or something. So now that he had stayed and he lost his powers, I don't know. But I really hope he gets them back. He gets to keep them. Also, as a final thing, I really like the ending of it. Also, as a final thing to kind of wrap up this opinion piece, I do like the ending of the third episode where Paria sends them to the vanishing point, which is something that has been established a long time ago on Legends as a thing. So it's a cool thing that they're bringing that back. That's one of the cool things where they actually build up instead of just do spectacle for fan service. I don't think fan service. I do like fan service, but this kind of fan service is not good, really, in my opinion. The fan service that is good is something like this vanishing point thing, where Paria sends them to a place where technically the antimatter can't get them. Also, right at the final scene when the multiverse was getting destroyed, when the Anti-Monitor destroyed the last people on the Wave Rider, I love Ralph's face where he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. I really like that. It kind of gave gravitas to the scene, which otherwise was kind of really stupid. We've barely seen the Anti-Monitor. Like, he's barely been even a thing, a character, if you like. So it really is annoying how he just kind of possessed the Harbinger and attacked and killed the Monitor. I don't know, it just came out of nowhere, honestly. But at least the ending of everything being destroyed was really cool, and everybody being sent to the vanishing point, and then the twist with Lex replacing Kingdom Come Superman. That was really cool twist. I like that. But yeah, ultimately, to summarize everything I said in this, which was more of a rant and ramble rather than proper opinion, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going want to do this series. Ultimately, I think this crossover was more of a spectacle over substance kind of thing, where they just did things because they are cool, not because they make sense. And they haven't really been developing characters or story arcs. They've just done shit for the sake of it, essentially. Because if you look back to Crisis on Earth X, there was actually character development, because for the longest time we've had the fact that Stein has wanted to leave and be with his family, but Jax has still wanted to be on the Wave Rider and be a legend, but without superpowers he can't be there. So they've tried to separate them and give him powers, or at least give him powers, so he could stay on the Wave Rider. And there was still a development of that. Like, I love the fact that there was still character development and story development during the crossover of that. Like, we had also characters' relationship problems, which I have not much information about it, but from what I've learned, in fact, that was even the reason they went to the wedding, kind of. But yeah, there was just a story development. Even though the crossover was its own thing, there was still character arcs and everything carrying over from the shows, which was really cool. Like, Crisis on Earth X has just been made like a... I don't know, I don't even know. I'm not gonna try even bother to talk anymore because I'm just repeating myself at this point. Overall, I don't like it, and I am disappointed with it. I wish it could have been better. Still, I'm going to review it again when we get the final 2 episodes. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of it at all. I still enjoyed it, but I'm severely disappointed. Personally, I'm gonna give this crossover a 6.5 out of 10. And maybe at some point I'm gonna end up reviewing Crisis on Earth X. But we'll see when it's going to be, because I enjoy doing this series, but they take a lot of time to edit. It might not look so, but they do. Plus, I also do other things on my channel, so I don't want to focus on one thing. But yeah, it's gonna be a 6.5 out of 10. For the sake of it though, if you want a comparison to how I feel about Earth X, I feel like Earth X, it's probably closer to an 8, maybe even a 9 out of 10. So yeah, I'm really disappointed by this. Meanwhile, the Invasion crossover is like a 7. So that's pretty much how it stands. I do think Earth X was the best crossover, and there's never going to be a better one than that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe. Check out the list in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you do enjoy my stories or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon where you can pledge your support. Any amount of money helps keep the channel running and allows me to focus more on it and make more videos, maybe even. But if you don't want to do that, you can still help me out by liking this video, subscribing, and especially by sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, so I'm gonna see you in the next one, hopefully. Bye!